My guest right now is looking for a fourth Stanley Cup ring on top of 2 Olympic gold medals, a World Cup, and a whole bunch of MVPs. There is only one world. There is only one world's best hockey player. There is only one Sidney Crosby. Sid, I just learned a little bit ago you sent a personal message to each survivor of the Junior A bus crash in Saskatchewan, the Humboldt Broncos. That tragedy really hits home, doesn't it? Every hockey player rides the bus.
Yeah, it certainly does. It's a terrible tragedy, and I think as hockey players growing up and playing minor hockey or junior hockey, you certainly have some memories of being on the bus and being with your friends and being excited for games and road trips and things like that. So, it's just a terrible situation, and I think everyone's really trying to rally around them and do everything they can.
Now, turning to the playoffs, when are you going to score a normal goal? You're batting the puck in, you're scoring from behind the net. When are you going to score like a wrist shot maybe?
Tomorrow will be a good time to start, I think.
It really would be.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I think as long as it finds the back of the net, but there's definitely been some good chances there that would have liked to have put in that I didn't, and then some nicer ones that have gone in. So as long as they go over the line, that's all I care about.
Well, to be serious, those goals are great, and it begs the question, how much do you practice hitting pucks out of the air and those bank shots? And how would you even practice those things?
Yeah, I don't think you really practice that specifically. I think you work on rebounds and tips and things like that, and then, sometimes playing out rebounds or tough angles, just trying to make it as game-like as possible, and sometimes you end up getting a few of those looks, and it doesn't happen that often, but when you do, if you're able to put them in, it's great. So that's really the way it's kind of worked out, but you're always kind of working on different things in and around the net, and that's just kind of a product of it.
For the first time since 2012, the Penguins in Philadelphia play in the playoffs, and 2012 did not go well. Do you see any connection between then and now? That's a long time ago.
Yeah, I think there's a few players that are still on both teams that still remember that series. It was a crazy series, a lot of goals and fights and suspensions and a lot that went into it. But I think there's been a lot of change too, and I think that the rosters have changed a lot for both teams, and I'm sure the mentality for both teams will be a little bit different. But that emotion, that intensity is always there between the two teams, and I would expect that to be very similar.
You have 116 points in 80 career games against the Flyers. That includes playoffs. How's that happen? What makes you so successful against one team in particular?
I don't have a great explanation. I don't really think about that a whole lot going, game to game. I think, the fact that we've played each other a lot, and with, the rivalry being what it has been and continues to be, I think that, it brings out the best in both teams. I think both teams are ready to play against each other regardless of the situation or the time of year or playoffs or regular season. So I think that's just, that's just the way that, the rivalry goes. Both teams are at their best and they know they have to be ready. And that's, probably been the case for me.
Claude Giroux had a heck of a season, didn't he? What's it like to kind of match up against him in this series?
Yeah, he did. He was consistent and, scored some big goals for them. I think that whole line, I'm not sure if they're playing together with Couturier, and I know Voracek was there for a little bit, and there were some different guys that kind of moved in and out, but they've definitely got some depth there, and they had a really good finish this season, but he's been leading the way all year, so you just have to be ready to compete. Whether it's opposing center or deep pairings, line matchups, I think this time of year it's just about competing.
Do you guys talk about the rivalry with the Flyers like when you're in the room, or is that just sort of something that happens once you get out on the ice?
We don't talk about it a whole lot. For guys who have been around here for a while, they understand it. I think for guys who are new and haven't experienced a lot of games, and certainly the playoff series against them, I think you feel that pretty quickly in the games with the emotion, the intensity. So I think that's just just something that as a player you're out there and you feel it and you understand it pretty quickly. And there's not a lot of talking about it. Guys will talk the odd time about that series and how crazy it was and everything that came along with it. But besides that, I don't think you really talk about the rivalry a whole lot.
The fans in Philadelphia really roast you, so you have that to look forward to for games 3 and 4. Do you hear that when you're out there, Sid? And wouldn't they be smarter to leave you alone? I always say, don't poke the bear.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I know, to be honest with you. It's kind of always been like that. So, yeah, I think going into the game, you're preparing the same way, and it's just something that's part of it. But yeah, I think that's something that you have to use as motivation and try to go out there and be at your best. And regardless of what's said or what you hear, usually when you're into the game, you don't really pay attention to that stuff a whole lot.
After winning the last 2 cups, was this ever going to be like a great regular season, like 115 points or whatever? I mean, don't get me wrong, 100 points is very good, but it seems like you guys still have an extra gear you can get to, and maybe you too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, it's a process, and, we definitely had some turnover this summer, and, when it comes to roles and things like that, and team identity, that's stuff that you have to develop over the course of the year, and expectations are high, but, there is a process there, and, even looking at last year, you look at it, we continue to improve, even from the first round to the finals. So I think we've got to continue to get better with each game and adjust and that kind of thing. But that's really what it's about is getting better even at this point in the year. So we had a good stretch of games there late the last month, important hockey games that we needed to get points in, and we played some solid teams and played well. So that should give us a boost. But we definitely can find another level here heading into the playoffs.
The Penguins play a very high-risk style. High risk, high reward. Will that change at all in the playoffs? The playoffs are usually a bit tighter. Do you think you guys will take less risk?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we like to think we play too risky of a game. I think, we definitely have some guys who can, make plays out there and can kind of read the play and maybe I don't want to say take a risk because it's pretty calculated, I think, for the most part when you're thinking about some of the offensive guys that we have. But, you look at a guy like Tanger who plays as well as he does defensively. He's smart and knows when to join the rush, and I don't necessarily see it as being a risk. But, I think that's important to play tight defense and worry about that first and then let the offense take care of itself. So I think that'll be our approach, and for the most part, I think we've been pretty good at that. But, it's definitely important come playoff time to take care of your own end first.
We're talking to Penguins captain Sidney Crosby here on the home of the Penguins, 1059. You're currently skating on a line with Gensel and Rust. You're a finicky guy to skate with. We've talked about that. Talk about what those two bring to the table and how you feel that you three are playing together right now.
Yeah, I mean, Gens is, he's fast. He's got some really good hockey sense. He knows those areas to go to, and he's not the biggest guy, but he goes to the front of the net a lot, and he gets, those loose pucks in and around the net, but also makes a lot of plays too. So, I think that's what he brings, and Rusty brings a ton of speed. He brings the puck to the net, does a lot off the rush, and, pushes guys back a lot. So, I think we've developed a little bit of chemistry. We've played together for a little bit towards the end of the year. And like a lot of lines, I think it's been pretty consistent here down the stretch. So I think that's a good thing. That's always a good sign, and we'll look to try to continue that going into the playoffs here.
Do you like Sully putting you, Phil, and Gino on different lines? Do you think that really is that hard to match up against if you're the other team?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. I mean, I think that games are different and the flow of games and special teams, depending on what happens there. Obviously, Phil and Gino have played together a lot at different points and done really well too. So, whether we're all on different lines or, those two are together or, whatever the combinations are, we're all pretty familiar, but, I think that they've played pretty good together too. So, however it ends up, I mean, I think we're okay as far as chemistry and things like that because so many guys have played together at different points.
Talk about the power play. Number one in the league, best ever in Penguins history. And I've never seen a power play that's so patient, that just waits and looks and seems to really ascertain that perfect moment time and again.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have some guys who provide different things and, some great shots from different areas of the ice. And obviously with Horny and what he does in front of the net and the way he competes on pucks and things like that, he creates a lot. Even out of nothing plays, he's able to get pucks back and, keep plays alive. So that's huge too. But, whether it's Phil or Gino shooting or Tanger or Schulte up top, they've got big shots too. So I think that, you've got to be able to adjust and be versatile. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that. And it'll become even more important come playoff time. You don't get as many power plays in the playoffs and not as easy to get that rhythm that you might get in the regular season when you're getting, 4, 5, 6 maybe in a game. And, they'll be important. So we'll look to make sure that we can try to be a difference there.
Is there more pressure to win again because you're trying to make history, first time 3 in a row since 1982? Or is there less pressure because you've won the last 2 cups?
I think there's always pressure, and the expectations are always high. And, I think that getting the opportunity to play in the playoffs, although we've been fortunate enough to be there a lot, I think, you still can't take that for granted. So I think there's always pressure, and with our team, the expectations are always high. So regardless of what happened the last couple of years or anything, I think that, the fact that we have a possibility to get 3, there's probably a ton of different storylines, but I think that there's always pressure, and it's a great opportunity that you want to make the most of. So I think that's more how we look at it.
How do you guys feel now? And you personally, what's the fatigue factor after all these games over the last 3 years?
I feel good. I mean, I think that as a group, we feel good. I mean, when you're playing, the important games down the stretch, that kind of gets you into that playoff mentality. And once you get to this point of the season, I think you feel pretty energized. You're excited for, the opportunity to play in the playoffs and the important games that are ahead. And I think all that combined, you get excited for that, and I feel like we are. So, like you said, we definitely need to find another level. I think every team looks at that going into the playoffs, and that's exactly what we're looking for as well.
What was it like to play all 82 games in a season for the first time in your career? I bet that meant a lot to you.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I felt like I didn't play 82 a couple times just because I ended up maybe resting for the last game, or it might have been something, a situation like that. But I mean, you want to play as many as you can, and you try to take care of yourself to give yourself the best chance to do that. And sometimes even doing that, it doesn't allow you to play them all. But it's great to be able to put a full season together. That's for sure.
Okay, now we got to go to the traditional interview-ending questions. Have you added any superstitions? Because that McDonald's logo thing is still going really strong, isn't it?
I haven't. I'm sure if I did, that you would have noticed it anyway.
That's quite possible. Have you put a count on your superstitions? How many, do you indulge before a game?
I haven't put a count, but I don't know, where you draw the line, between a superstition and part of the routine is. I don't know what counts as what. So
yeah, so we're talking maybe hundreds. The way you're.
There'd be a number of them. Yeah.
Anything life altering? Engaged, married, joined social media, anything like that?
No, I don't have nothing for you there.
Okay. Any good movies lately? Now you had to watch Darkest Hour, the Churchill movie. I thought of you when I saw it. That's right up your alley.
I did see that. Yeah, it was okay. It was okay. Right now, I haven't seen much lately. I was looking to see that. I think it's 12 Strong.
Haven't seen
that yet, but that's what I'm looking to see. Yeah.
Now, getting back to hockey, you got to feel good about these playoffs, right? I mean, you know what to do. The guys know what to do. That experience is so big, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it helps. I mean, it's the best time of the year. This is what you prepare for and play for all year long to give yourself this opportunity. And it's exciting, and it definitely helps to have experience. And, we have guys who have been there, but, the great thing about it is it doesn't guarantee anything either. So you still got to go out there and play and execute and, do all the things that are important to winning games. And, but yeah, I think it's great to have the experience, and there's lots of teams and players who played in the playoffs that have experience too. But, yeah, come playoff time, it's a fresh start, and you get excited for the opportunity you have.
Listen, this has been great as always. Just one final thing about this series against Philadelphia. You can't lose, and the shorter the better. I just kind of had to say that. Sid, thanks so much, and I'll see you tomorrow night.
All right, thanks a lot.
That is the great Sidney Crosby, the Penguins captain. When his career's done, I'm going to sit him down, and we're going to count the superstitions. I bet they do number, maybe not in the hundreds, but certainly in the dozens.